We are playing NGS.
Instruction.
So that begs the question, should Sega fix certain things? Yes. And improve certain things? Hell yeah. It's pretty much everything they need to overhaul. But, that's my own opinion. And I could get more detailed later on. But yeah.
With the freebie stuff, it's kind of just like a baseline that's almost enforced. It's partially enforced by like battle power requirements and stuff. So you can't really like not have freebie gear because of how the game is.
Exactly.
Which I think he was kind of talking about at some point. I don't know if he's going to talk about it later.
Base stuff, and they're just collecting whatever the game gives them and not selling it because they don't have access to the shop or whatever it happens to be. I want to see what their actual stocks look like. I'm curious.
You want to see my stocks? Sure. Let's go to all storage. Wow. I'm not selling them. I'm hoarding them for sure. I need to delete that, but whatever. Yeah, some things I need to delete. Now let's go to... Oh. I'll check the... Well, why not? There's things I'm going to delete here anyways. And keep items. What do you know? Look. I'm free to play and I have a shit ton. And I don't play as much like Krono and any other player. Or any content creator. I'll probably have more items because I don't use my items. I don't waste them because I know what I'm going to use it for later. But yeah, that's my stock. Hope you like it, Krono.
I'm going to show you guys really quick here. It's kind of like a little bit of a mix in between. Let me go ahead and pull up my inventory. And I tell you right now, I haven't really paid any attention to this for a very long time. But if I go, let's say, Gladia, I have 66 Gladia souls. I have 4 Grand Gladia souls.
You want to do it like
if
that.
I were to search map in today's dangerous day, 32 Gigas Mastays, a Glen Gigas Mastay sitting in here, 2 Magis Gigas Mastays sitting in here. If I just search Magis in general, let's see.
Is this really like a problem? He only has like 1 or 2 of like the actual good stuff. Like sure he has like 32 of these Gigas Mastays, but what does it take? 5 of these each to make one of these? That's like 6 more. And he plays this game every day. Is that a problem?
No.
If I've got, like, I haven't paid attention. Yeah, okay, so I haven't played a whole lot. So I only have these 2 Magis. I probably sold the other ones that were actually useful. It took at Lux. I have 4 Lux Hal Finales. This is a best in slot augment in the game currently. It's 310k. The most expensive augments in the game right now for your gear.
You have 343, holy shit.
It used to not be this way. It used to be the other way around. These used to be the cheapest augments, but the most expensive augments in your gear currently are the paid ones. In the past, I always told people it doesn't make any sense why you guys are so upset about the Roddies and all of these things because they're the cheapest augments on your setups, right?
I would argue that it's still kind of the cheapest. I don't know. I just bought a Ratty for like what, 4 mil.
What he's
So
trying
like, if
to
you
do.
were to use like 10 Luxes, that's almost going to be as much. Because like, you got to remember, these are 100% augments. These are not. These are 7%. So if you want to equate to this, you need to stack 10 and also use a booster.
When you're looking at things like Lux Half Finale, when it was
And keep in mind, this is better. This is 6%. This is like 5%.
8 mil, 10 of those is 80 mil. So the value of that one augment, because if you look at something like a capsule, the capsule is 100% to get the same.
Wait, 80? Wait, what? 80 mil? What are you talking about? Why would you buy 10 Ratties?
Yeah.
Or was he talking about the Lux? He's talking about like how it used to be? I think I missed something.
In the past, I always told people it doesn't make any sense why you guys are so upset about the Roddies and all of these things, because they're the cheapest augments on your setups,
No,
right?
it's not.
When you're looking at things like Lux Half Finale, when it was 8 mil,
Okay, yeah, win.
10 of
Okay.
those is 80
I
mil.
missed that part.
So the value of that one augment, because if you look at something like a capsule, the capsule is 100% to get the same value of that, and not even.
Yeah, I think it being 8 mil was ridiculous. I don't think it should have been that way.
Yeah.
I think how it is now is fine.
Kind of.
But to get a close value of that, you would need 10 of them. So that's 80 mil versus like, you know, a Roddy, which I mean,
because Lux Half Finale has been around for how long now?
Yeah.
This is like one of the first augments of the current tier that we're using. Like, this is one of the first best slot augments that we currently have to come out. So we've been using this.
Krono's using this one too.
I gotta say over a year at least, if not more. It's been a while.
This is how it used to be.
So if it stayed at 8 mil up to this point, that would be so bad. That would be so bad. You only use one aug for essentially you like Maceta? Yeah, I mean, I try to do that, but it doesn't really work out. Sometimes you gotta use like 20 some, like I did.
The time we're looking at augments, if we're looking at the exact time,
because you know you just keep failing and failing and failing and failing.
Specifically, you'd be looking at things like they're between 4 to 8 mil, and you'd be looking at like 12 to 15 mil for things like parfaits. Granted, prices inflated, and we'll talk about that here in just a moment. But like that's what you would be looking at, and I was like,
yeah, I think with the prices how they currently are, they are still expensive enough to where it's like, you know, it's a decent chunk of money. You know, you still got to use a lot of resources, so you're either buying one at a time, using a booster and an aug protect, and it's going to take you a lot if you're unlucky, or still at least a few if you got like average luck. And you have to use this on 4 pieces of gear, by the way.
Yep.
So you have to at least get 4. So I think you're still spending like over a mil or something, or you're earning them
more
yourself. So I just don't see the issue. I think it's actually in a better spot now than what it was. I think the main problem
kind of
is just the quests themselves and what's dropping these, and not enough variety of quests are available to drop stuff like this.
Exactly.
I think that is the issue.
It is the issue.
I don't think them being this price is the problem.
Guys, these are cheaper. Like, this is cheaper than best in slot augments. I would recommend that being.
And it also allows people to actually use fucking multiple weapons finally, and not have to spend hundreds of millions of Maceta to be able to do so. You can actually use more than one weapon. You can play multiple classes and have good augments in it.
The first thing that you augment is getting those capsules, because they're guarantees and they were super cheap.
I know most people only play one class, so that's why it feels like it's, you know, not a lot of Maceta, but it actually, you know, opens up the door to play more than one class. Yeah. It's also going to change soon, and, you know, like,
exactly.
The price for this, whatever the new augment's going to be be crazy, because it's new. That's just how it always works. You know, the longer something is in the game, the less value it's going to have, because more people already have it. It's like, once you have it, you don't need it again. Especially because we have augment transfer. The augment transfer passes. So it's like, once you have it on a piece of gear, you do not need to augment it again. As long as you keep getting augment transfer passes. That's just how it is.
Comparatively to the other augments that were super expensive. Now it's flipped. It's reversed. If someone wants to complain about these being pay to win and it's unfair, I can't argue with them, because they're right. It's insane. These are the most expensive augments for us right now, because these have been diminished so heavily.
But the Ratty and Lars are also
Because
the best.
everything gives everything. That even if you want to go
Brand
out there
new.
and let's say do the current piece of content,
That's
to make
not
some
even
money to
very
be
far
able
in
to
price.
sell
Well,
those
he's buying
augments,
depth, by
you're
the
not
way.
gonna make it.
So his price is a little bit skewed.
Yeah.
He's buying depth parfaits because he's a fucking maniac. So these are like 30 mil or something. But you can buy Ratties for like
More
4
than
mil
that.
or something
But
like
yeah.
that. I'm sure when, like, if you buy them as a scratch comes out for these, you can buy them for even less.
This is the most thoughtful gift imaginable for someone trying to get in shape. It's from the Conqueror, and at first it may look like a mere toy medal.
Anything. You're not gonna make anything at all. Like there's no drive to go after it because it's not worth anything.
Yeah, Sega likes money.
We're to the point now that I'm legitimately considering
Eh.
augment transferring my weapons and my 2 units that I have that have S augments and my Magus on it, and not transferring a unit, like making a new unit. Making a new unit, if we get new units, is actually worth more to me, or say it's actually cheaper than making a new weapon because of EX augment combos. I haven't transferred mine over here, but like, just let that settle in. We're in a situation now where our augments, our best in slot gear, is so cheap that it's not even worth going after if you already have your stuff. And that comes purely, and that's not to say like, oh, this is a terrible thing, this is screwed up, this doesn't work anymore, this is wrong, but that's simply to show you guys when people say things like the rewards aren't good enough, that's what that has created. We now are in a system where the rewards are so good, they're worthless. They don't have.
I don't think they're worthless. I think like the problem, like he means it's worthless because deck space exists. I think that's what he's saying. Like it's bad to farm those specifically to sell them to other players because deck space is just going to give you more money. Yeah, exactly. I don't think. I think this is actually better for the health of the game that every augment isn't like fucking 8 to 10 mil. Because I think he's forgetting the facts that people want to buy cosmetics too.
Mm-hmm.
People want to buy cosmetics. People want to spend their Meseta on other things besides just gearing. I feel like a lot of people choose to not spend on gearing because they'd rather spend on cosmetics. Like almost 90% of the time, if not more, people would rather spend on the cosmetics because that is the main draw of the game. That is like the ultimate prize to people, is the cosmetics that they can get. Then upping their potency number by a few points. Yes, fashion is the end game, as people always say. Fashion is forever. True. It never goes away once you got the fashion. It's on your account.
Yep.
It's on your character. They're worth less than they are or were. I think he would have said it that way then instead of saying worthless. So I think he would have said worth less, not worthless. Kind of combined together. I think he actually means worthless.
Aren't good enough. That's what that has created. We now are in a system where the rewards are so good, they're worthless. They don't have any value. That's not true.
They don't have any value.
But they don't have nearly as much value as they used to.
Okay.
Seeing best.
He did say worthless, and he did say it, but then he changed his mind. Okay. He changed his mind afterwards, but he was saying that originally.
The slot augments be below a mil is insane to me. It is no longer the biggest concern a lot of people had for a long time were the, what are they called? The protects. I have 38 of them. They're almost worthless to me, to be perfectly honest.
I don't use them.
It's not worth protecting any of the augments that you're going to RNG with. It just isn't anymore. And from some people's perspective, that's a great thing. They're like, yo, that's awesome.
That's what I'm saying. That's awesome.
It is. Much easier. You're absolutely right. But the second half of the situation is what's causing it not to feel like it's worth it. We have no defined progression path.
Well, hold on. If you get 10 on, let's say, it doesn't need to be, damn it. Let's say you get 10 Gladius or 10 this type of augment, you're covered. You don't need to have the protection. You just need 10 or more for you have coverage, so it could be 100% guaranteed. But once you have this one, excuse me, you need one of them, and it's 100% guaranteed. So, how do you get rid of the protection for augments? You just need to have more of the same augments to up to have that guaranteed. That's how I've been doing on my weapons. I don't need to count on other players on getting augment and just pop it in to see if I'm guaranteed to get it or enhance or um, improve my weapon or equipment. I could depend on myself and not other players because the market system is rigged from day one. Because whales, premium players, and people that manipulate the market system. To get rid of all that is by you as a player getting as much as material as possible, like pretty much hoarding, and you don't need to depend on other players. But there are players that don't want to put the work or the grind to get to that spot. They want to pay to pay to win or pay to get faster to that spot from A to B, as like any other players that progressing and pouring their blood, sweat, tears, and putting time in the game in order to get X, Y, and Z, or enhance or improve their weaponry or their armory, or any equipment that you have. But like Krono here, and people that's thinking like Krono, that they're putting any type of materials and products into the player system so they could benefit. That's why maybe he's complaining about why certain augments are low, because it benefits him and other players like him that the price is from the charts, that they get the benefits of getting Maseta and share it among them, and players like myself and maybe Critical Caster and anybody else that have struggled and playing the game as it's supposed to, not wasting the time and burning themselves out and going from A to Z really quick just to get into the player market and start throwing out trash and putting trash in the market, or putting something valuable where they could get better earnings. And once you have that, it's kind of like a drug. You have that edge, and you have that, that rush of dopamine, of, you know, kind of like people that has problem with gambling, that they need that fix. So they need to gamble more and take higher risks, the higher the reward. He has the taste of that, and this is the risk that he's taking and hiring the reward. So manipulating the market, what the current prices or the prices that should be for, that's also Sega's problem, that's not fixing the player market's value of certain items that's extremely high. I get it. I could understand that the market is kind of like a business. There's things that you can put a price on, or there's uh, priceless items, right? And it's kind of like pawn shop for an example, because there's priceless item that you could put whatever price. This is not a pawn shop. It's a market that you a market you in this case, this market, you can't haggle the price and get, good for your buck. It's a market that it's like if you're going to any market or Walmart for an example, just to put it out there, and you want to buy a banana or an energy drink, the price is fixed. Or Costco, the price is fixed. You cannot gamble. The price is fixed. They put the price of a priceless item because it's so rare, and they manipulate that market that way, and also decreasing as it go along, but still they get um, more shares of the pie. So let's say from the economy standpoint, if I want to put a to cut them off, or let's say I have $10, I want to spend my $10, but also the other person saying, okay, if you want to spend this item that costs $10, I'll give it to you for $15. And then it's a little bit better item than what you have. You're like, okay. So they probably will take your product and turn that 15 or that $10 to $50. It's kind of like a watermelon. You're buying half a watermelon, and the watermelon, half of a watermelon will be like $5 or $2, and a person that's selling a whole watermelon is $10 or $20. Who's gonna earn more money? The person that's doing the halves. So the one that's putting a whole watermelon, it's pretty much slowly, people won't look at that watermelon anymore because how that person's not fixing that and their price tag on that watermelon. So they're gonna cut off their prices till, you know almost for free, and they can't sell it. But they're manipulating the market that way because they're like, okay, we're gonna these two people, that's a whole watermelon and half a watermelon, they're working together in a way. So they're like, okay, I can give you my whole watermelon, so you could put it in a different price. So I'll just keep that one, leave it there, and you go drastically decrease, but give me a cut. So this is what's they're doing it. As you can see, that's how they're manipulating the game. They found out a higher price what they could do, or they could squeeze anything that they can from the player market and the player themselves. So as it ages, they're like, okay, we're gonna slowly release it, but still a higher price. So what's the best thing of what I have? What I have is we could say 6 million. So yeah, 6 million. And in order for, could be a little bit less, put it by 4 million or for 5 million. So the next couple of months, if we don't hear anything in you know, the headline, things like that, we're gonna slowly dip our way, but still we have the power. So we have better uh, currency in our pockets, splitting up among us whatever we need to upgrade or enhance, or other items that we could keep into our, storage. If we need more storage, we could just buy more. Who needs more? It's pretty much a web of scammers. That's pretty much what they did. So that's they're slowly decreasing. The person is multiple people scamming each other. So in other ways, there are going to be people that relying on other players that's trying to make ends meet. They're like following this trend of the scammers and scalpers, because who's manipulating the market system so far? What That's pretty much what Chrono has been saying. The people that's focused on best in slot, or the alliance from, I don't know, I guess from Spikesu has said, the KFC, and I don't know who else other than other alliance from there. But I could name another one, but I don't want to butcher it because I can't remember. I don't have, uh, you know, I don't have that thing with me to double check. But yeah,
See you later.
and I'll be right back